Today we're going to discuss the very interesting French composer Camille Saint-Saëns. He was a brilliant but eccentric character. Brilliant in the sense that he was learned in so many different fields. He wasn't only a musician, he took an interest in astronomy and all manner of things. Learned in the sense that he was conservative and structured in his way of doing things. One thinks of his grasp of counterpoint as evidenced in his organ symphony, his ability to take a fugal theme and to manipulate it. His brilliance as an organist. Liszt declared that he was one of the greatest organists. In many respects, he was a genius. He was in fact a child prodigy. The beginning of his life wasn't easy. He was actually quite ill when he was born. He had tuberculosis. His father died when he was young. And then in fact at the age of 3, his aunt taught him piano. And he made his debut as a pianist at the age of 10, performing works by Mozart and Beethoven. So he was truly a genius. In every sense, he held an important post as an organist. He could improvise. He was a prolific composer. He won a prize, the Prix Première, at the Paris Conservatoire for his organ playing. He was also, of course, a pianist and a composer and an organist. He was everything. He was born in Paris in 1835. He, as we said, made rapid progress as a musician. In 1848, he entered the Paris Conservatoire, and as we mentioned, he was awarded the Prix Première for his organ playing. He held a post at the Madeleine Church in Paris in the 1850s. Now, he was committed to promoting French music. Together with one of his colleagues, he actually founded the Société Nationale de Musique, which was committed to promoting the music of young French composers. There was a certain resentment towards the influence of German music, and so they wanted to promote French music with its appreciation for clarity and beauty. So that was one of the things he did in his life. He furthered the interests of French music. He composed in many different genres, many of the important genres of his time, the conservative styles, the symphony, the concerto, all these Viennese models. So he was recognized as being conservative. But as we mentioned, he was also very eccentric. There are various theories as to his orientation, as to his personality. Saint-Saëns was a complex character. Many of his great works actually date from the 1870s and the 1880s. We mentioned his magnificent organ symphony, which he considered to be one of the pinnacles of his career, his organ symphony number 3. And of course there was his opera, Samson and Delilah. He excelled in all the genres. And the much loved Carnival of the Animals, which was actually written as a joke. So Saint-Saëns really composed with ease, with a learned grasp of music. His students found his style of teaching quite rigid. He was particular about details, but he was a genius in every sense, if not a pedantic one. Now we're going to focus in this lecture on his second piano concerto, the one in G minor, which he composed in just 17 days in 1868. He premiered the work. He was the soloist and the conductor was Rubinstein. Unfortunately, the premiere was not a great success given the pressure they were under. He had to complete it given considerable constraints of time, and so they didn't have enough time to rehearse, but with time the work has gained a lot of respect and admiration. So this is his piano concerto number 2 in G minor. We're going to look at certain elements. It, just like Saint-Saëns, is unconventional in many respects. It doesn't follow the conventional order of fast, slow, fast. It doesn't begin with the orchestra, it begins with the soloist. He does a lot of unusual things. We're going to look at this in more detail. Saint-Saëns' Piano Concerto number 2 in G minor, opus 22, is his most popular work in this genre. He wrote it under great pressure in just 17 days. It was dedicated to Madame A. de Villiers and premiered on the 13th of May 1868 in Paris. Rubinstein conducted it, and Saint-Saëns was the soloist. It is unconventional for a number of reasons. Saint-Saëns replaced the conventional fast, slow, fast format with a slow, fast, faster arrangement of the movements. The work is imbued with sudden changes in style. Saint-Saëns ignored convention by opening the first movement with a piano solo. Concertos usually begin with the orchestra. The piano introduction is improvisatory in character and suggests a prelude in the style of a Bach fantasia. Unconventionally, it does not follow sonata form and is slow. The second movement in E-flat major, marked Allegro scherzando, is scherzo-like in character and in sonata form. The slow movement of a concerto is usually marked Adagio. The third movement in G minor is marked Presto and is in sonata form. It is in the style of a saltarella or a tarantella, depending on different sources. These were distinct Italian dances, rapid dances, which originated from a certain region in Italy. It is characterized by rapid triplet figures. Here you can hear the beginning of the first movement, Andante sostenuto, with its improvisatory character, suggesting a Bach fantasia. It is unusual for a concerto to start with the piano instead of the orchestra. Also, it is unconventional for the first movement of a concerto as it is slow. The first movement is usually fast. Finally, it is not in the sonata form characteristic of a first movement. Here you can hear the beginning of the second movement, Allegro scherzando. It is unconventional for a second movement in that it is fast. The second movement of a concerto is usually slow. Here you can hear the beginning of the third movement, marked Presto. One can hear its characteristic saltarella or tarantella rapid dance rhythm and the proliferation of triplet figures.